Hey folks, quick note before the episode gets started today. There's some minor audio issues early on in the episode. First 5 to 6 minutes tops. There's a little bit of clicking here and there. It's Skype issues we were dealing with. It's cleaned up though, best we could get it. And pretty much after that 5 or 6 minutes, everything's good and clear. So just quick warning, bear with it. It'll get better. Appreciate you listening.
If we can turn back the clock of time, if we can rotate it back almost 20 years ago,
what a real Donnybrook that's going to be. Nicely executed and down to the canvas. Here comes, all hell's going to break loose now. Anything moves here.
Too much sun and not enough sky. What am I the thorn in your eye?
Welcome to another edition of the Atomic Dropcast, your weekly knee to the ass bone for your ear holes. I'm Brian, and alongside my co-host, Mikey.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us. What we're doing here is we're taking a look back at the wrestling from our childhood from a new perspective as adults. We're recapping the action, and we're giving you guys another look at the angles and the wrestling of yesteryear.
And this week, it's Monday Night Raw number 204, broadcasted live on April 7th, 1997.
That's right. We're coming live from Muncie, Indiana.
The center of the wrestling universe.
Center of the wrestling universe. Huge hub for wrestling. And the Worthen Arena with a huge attendance. Sold out 3,353 people there. And that includes the janitor, folks. How you doing, Brian?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing good. Drinking. Enjoying the night. Here we are for another episode of the Atomic Dropcast. And I'm excited to be back.
Back in the saddle again.
Yes, sir.
For this rousing episode of Monday Night Raw, and just right off top, I gotta say, I feel like this show really could use more Shawn Michaels.
Oh my goodness, Brian! I'm going to tear your hero down. Get ready, because everything you said last week is going to be repeated here on this show about your guy. It's going to be great.
Man. Hey, you know what? And turnabout is fair play. So I went and I did check to see what was happening on Nitro at the same time as well.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear that too, because I have no idea. So here we are, Raw 204. We are what? 2, 3. This is our third episode removed from WrestleMania. Yep. Moving towards the next pay-per-view in your house, Revenge of the Taker. We've got this Raw. We've got the next Raw. And then I believe we're there. But if you've heard our show before, you realize we're not good at counting. We've been wrong many times.
many times. And hashtag it will happen again.
It will happen again. We will tell you the pay-per-view is next week. And we will watch 2 episodes of Raw first. So before the start of Raw 204, here's what we get tonight. We get a recap of what happened last week. Mankind and The Undertaker from Raw 203. This is where Mankind burnt the face of The Undertaker and left him on the side of the ring. When they used the casket for the old dumbwaiter trick, where they hide the guy underneath the basket and wheel him into the room.
Only to follow up the dumbwaiter trick with the dumb-ass flash paper trick.
Yes, the great, he's on fire. He melted his flesh. We'll get there, folks. Don't you worry. What'd you think of the quick video recap?
It was cool. Once again, I mean, not that thing droned on that long last week, but I will say by the time Brett was done, I had no patience for anything, and it's always good just to see something distilled down like that, because it's and with a little bit of music behind it, it adds so much more like gravitas to it, you know.
I agree completely. It's a nice little package. It makes it look more dramatic for sure. Especially when the moment you just saw a flash fire real quick and it looked like it barely hit him. But with the angles they used, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and and the great thing about editing is you can skip that whole part where he couldn't get it lit the first time.
That's right. It looks like he just pops out and lights him on fire. And we're going to see this clip again throughout the show, so I'm not going to cover it every time. And we get the show open from there. Here we go, Raw's War. theme song. I don't know if they'd actually switched from Marilyn Manson by now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe we covered it. I think when we originally went over all of that, I had a date. According to the internet, I had a date when they did make the switch, but I don't remember what that is at all.
So folks, go back and listen, find that date. And if we didn't say it, let us know and we'll fucking look it up again.
Check our extensive archives over at atomicdropcast.com.
And while you're there, click on the subscribe button and figure out which way that you do want to subscribe to this show because, hey, we like when you listen.
And it's free. And when you're done getting the free shit, go buy a t-shirt.
Go buy a t-shirt. It's not free for you, but it's free for us and it doesn't benefit us at all. We're just happy for you to buy a shirt, enjoy our podcast, and laugh with your friends.
Indeed. Matter of fact, there's a brand new one up, Lucha Libre. And
you don't know what that means. I caught last week's show recently or a couple weeks show. And that was a good one. So yeah, catch the new shirt at the Atomic Drop Shop at theatomicdropcast.com. Subscribe, do your thing, check us out, click on the About Us. It's real short, but maybe you like a paragraph. Anyway, but before the show started, Brian, did you notice that there was a TVMA rating on this one?
I did not catch that.
Yeah, before the show started, we got a TVMA rating, or at least I did. And pretty surprised. What?
Well, remember when we got into Raw's War, we had a very lengthy part of whatever that episode was talking about the split between Raw's War and Warzone for the ratings thing, but also we discussed that they would normally have the two shows, quote unquote, would normally have two different ratings.
Right.
So
with the raunchier show being later.
Exactly. So it's like more lax rules with the FCC after a certain hour.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that surprises me that the first hour would have TVMA.
Yeah, I was really surprised. And then I watched it and didn't realize why it did. But here we go. We have on commentary Vince, Jim Ross, and Honky Tonk Man, a change from our normal format.
I'm just a honky tonk man.
Mr. MacMahon is in full force tonight.
Oh, I started to do a MacMahon counter, but I don't have that kind of time.
Nobody has that kind of time, especially when we're drinking.
It's every couple seconds.
We find out from the commentary team that we're going to see Psycho Sid versus Mankind tonight. Or are we? Ken Shamrock in a no holds barred bout. Shawn Michaels is going to get a load off his chest.
I'll make them feel like they're on cloud nine.
I thought the same thing. That same childish joke ran through my head both times I watched that part.
Amen. I said the same shit. Right in the beginning, we get the British Bulldogs theme song. Here we go with what I found on the internet was supposed to be a WWF tag team title match, but very quickly Howard Finkel announces that no, it is a non-title match.
I didn't catch that.
Jim Ross also reiterates that in commentary. Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting because everything I read online says tag title match.
What I put together for the rundown for the show, yeah, I got the same thing.
And by everything I read, I meant one website.
Exactly. The one website that has steered us wrong in the past.
The one website that is written in complete German and then translated English. Thank you very much. We rely on that.
That is law here.
Yes. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog are going to not defend their tag titles against Henry and Phineas, the Godwins.
Without Hillbilly Jim.
No Hillbilly Jim. No one on the side of Owen and Bulldog. And before the match can get started, who do we hear from?
Bret Hart's baby bro.
Baby brother. Owen grabs the mic and says, "Thank God for Bret." Otherwise, him and Bulldog would still be feuding.
I was surprised to hear the word feuding.
Me too. He calls everyone haters. Says, "Shawn Michaels, you better not say one word about Bret. Don't do it. Not one word at all tonight, because I heard you're going to be out here.
You better not say anything bad.
Don't you do it. Don't you say anything bad about my brother Bret."
Now we've gone on and on about how great Owen is, and this is not terrible. It's not Ken Shamrock levels of garbage.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. But and Shawn will be guilty of it later. But at least two different times in this, Owen has like a great ending line that's real punctuated, and it's a nice ending line, and then he still has to tack more onto it. It's like, now you sound terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen Parks and Rec, but he's like John Ralphio.
100% with the freestyle raps.
Yeah, exactly. Nailed it. I'm glad you know the reference.
R to the O to the N, and then I say Swanson's got swagger the size of Big Ben clock.
Dude, you gotta end it on the rhyme.
I know what I have.
You had it at Vince.
So after the Owen interview, I'm sitting there watching with Hannah, and she says, "Aw, that was so very nice of him."
It was supposed to elicit the complete other
opposite
reaction.
response, but she's like, "Oh, he's defending her brother, or he's defending his brother."
Oh man.
So I was laughing pretty hard at that. As far as the match goes, about as good as you can expect from Henry and Phineas.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it because it's super punny, but it is actually accurate as well. This was a good match, but those two, they were a little sloppy.
Pun intended. There's a spot in the beginning where, I guess it's not really in the beginning, but Henry picks up Phineas and body slams him on top of Owen, and it looks pretty fucking stiff.
Oh yeah. It almost drops him down as if he would have done a senton or something.
Yeah, but he almost lands on Owen's head.
Yes. Other than, once again, a decent match that WWF does not want you to see.
No, that's the theme throughout.
The main thing I noticed about this was when it comes to tag team wrestling, these four did every tag team spot ever created.
Yeah.
Every blind tag or ignoring the legal tag because the ref didn't see it. Owen is dazed and runs into the wrong corner to get, knocked down. Like, they did every one of those spots.
I wrote down, despite being terrible wrestlers, the Godwins are playing great baby faces from 1988.
100%, which will be so undercut here in a minute. But yeah, I agree. The crowd was kind of behind them. They had the USA chants going on and whatnot. And it's like, all right, well, yeah. I guess Alabama or wherever is in the USA.
I think it was more anti-Owen and Brett, or Owen and Bulldog, but yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So Shawn Michaels cuts in, and Vince asks him,
"You mean the toy boy?"
The toy boy.
as Hawkey calls him.
I'm not your toy boy. Shawn cuts in. He says, "Tonight's live, and what are you going to do?" "I'm going to upset Owen. I'm going to upset the Bulldog, and probably a few other people."
And I don't respond well to authority.
He does not, apparently. And Vince, ha 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 ha. Just like later when Shawn calls him out for being the boss.
So I've been saying it pretty much since we started the podcast. But this episode really hammers down on it in a couple ways. We'll get to them as we go through. But I refuse to believe the idea of a Mr. McMahon character wasn't previously thought of before Survivor Series 1997. Now, granted, that was a good way to start it up. But the way they've been going about it since we started watching, that had to have already been a preconceived notion, or at the very least, it must have been a toupee style rib that Vince just liked. I don't know. It's so rampant in what we've watched.
You mean the evil?
Well, yeah, but hinting at he is the boss and not just a commentator.
You mean it was preconceived?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like they when you hear them talk about it these days, it's always framed as after the screw job, it's a happy accident. And then
Gotcha.
Mr. McMahon versus Stone Cold becomes the biggest thing professional wrestling has ever seen. But because there have been so many references to him being the boss, I can't believe that it wasn't a pre-thought thing. Now, I'm not saying they actively put it into motion, but still, like it's something that was kicked around enough for them to like put all these little feelers out.
So you haven't seen the old promos?
What old promo?
Yeah, there's a clip of Vince McMahon portraying the Mr. McMahon character prior to WWF in USWA to test it out.
Oh, yeah. No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. He's cutting heel promos when he's still a face announcer on WWE.
It means I'm not crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're exactly right. And that's Vince McMahon's cutting heel promos in Memphis before he reveals the McMahon character on WWE. So yes, it is a at least practiced idea.
Complete ingrate. Everybody knows what an ingrate is. Well, no, I guess maybe everybody doesn't know what an ingrate is. You see, you have to have at least a grammar school education to know what an ingrate is. So let me put it a different way for everyone in the greater USWA area. He's a bad guy. Got it? He's no good. I'm talking about Razor Ramon. Now, this imbecile, this ingrate, Razor Ramon, he has nothing. He comes to me with absolutely nothing. Nothing. He says, I'm a wrestler. He says, I do impersonations. And I know I'm not a very good wrestler, but if you'll just give me this one chance, you're worse than when you came to the World Wrestling Federation. You know what? We don't want you. No. You want to go to the USWA? You want to stay in the USWA? You want all those imbecile fans to, that really turned you on? The USWA fans, like they like you, they cheer you, and that turned you on? Oh, boy, you can have it. You can have it. Hey, what else?
I love that, like, PBS-ish kind of no music, no fuss, no muss, black backdrop. Like it's, it makes you pay attention to what he's saying.
Yeah. It's very direct to you.
Yeah. And he's killing it. Like promo wise, he's killing it. It's good. It's good stuff. It's very direct. And, that's amazing. I haven't seen that before.
Good stuff. Yeah. Vince McMahon was definitely working on the character for a while. I think it was in the bank. They just didn't expect to have to screw someone in the process. So happy accident.
I'm not sold. I still think the screw job was an inside screw job.
We'll get there.
Wrestling with Shadows, Loose Change. It's my new documentary.
We're going to watch documentaries. We're going to read the news. We're going to do all kinds of stuff come that time. So Shawn Michaels cuts in. He gives his little gimmick. He pops out. Godwins are playing pretty good baby faces. We went over all that. And then LOD cuts in. But before they do, Vince is ready. Or Vince is not ready, I'm sorry. And they're looking around for a minute trying to figure out when their cue is. Vince finally says, and LOD is looking on.
Which, timing-wise, it's probably no better time in the world to do a fucking cutaway.
Yeah, there's no one else in this match who has timing besides Owen and Bulldog.
Well, and remember there was that whole dead period just before where nothing happened, and now as we're clearly working to a finish, let's cut away real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see that often through the show. That's what they've been doing.
This one is probably one of the worst of the show because Vince is basically still talking to these morons.
Yeah, as the finish happens.
Exactly. And I didn't even see, I watched it twice. I didn't even see the finish either time.
Me either.
So I watched the replay.
Yeah. So I just see two false finishes where Owens pinned 5 or 6 seconds in a row in like 2 sequences. Second one is reversed and somehow Bulldog was the legal man, slipped out. Owens on top. Super awkward.
Very awkward.
As far as the LOD cut in, all they have to say is, Owen and Bulldog, your first mistake was talking about the USA. We're from the USA. Chicago, Illinois.
Well,
wow.
Which, folks, brings us to one of my new favorite segments and probably a forthcoming t-shirt. A Hawk Talk. Hawk doesn't say much, thankfully.
Nope. But for once, he gets it right.
But he does say the weirdest shit.
I heard, well, something, knocking something out of somebody's bladder.
Yeah. Whatever the precursor was, we're going to knock the ever so rancid bile right out of their bladders.
Ridiculous.
What a rush. What?
What a rush.
Is this fucking Dr. Hawk? Like,
if they talk fast enough, I don't understand what they say, and that's how they get over.
The only thing Hawk says slow is well.
Yeah. Hawk. So after all that weird bullshit finish, we get Owen and Bulldog leaving up the ramp. LOD catches them at the top of the ramp, takes off their shoulder pads, which again we've said many times, just use them.
Just leave them on.
LOD catches them between the Godwins. Owen and Bulldog look pretty scared for a minute. Godwins go to slop them. Owen and Bulldog dive to the ramp, and the slop ends up on the Legion of Doom.
Oh, man. For you folks out there who, A, thought the rules for wrestling matches went out the window in the new era, fuck out of here. And also,
they were gone.
And also, for you folks who thought that wrestling come 96, 97 had stopped being a utter cartoon, fuck out of here. That's the most cartoon shit I've ever seen. Honestly, at that moment, just imagine Owen and Bulldog, heavy on the dog, as fucking Scooby and Shaggy.
Oh, I was waiting for Benny Hill music. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was waiting on. I saw Owen and Bulldog hit the deck, and I'm like, oh, here we go. But you can fast forward it and just watch them chase each other around the ring.
Oh, they do that next show.
Yes.
Coming soon, folks.
Coming soon, the Benny Hill special.
Now, I will say, Owen and Bulldog sold it great. It worked out timing-wise. Everyone was on their shit. For once in this entire segment, probably the longest match of the entire night, and match segment altogether in the entire night. And for once, the Godwins got their timing dead on that one.
Yeah, for once. So then we cut to a commercial. We come back, and Vince says, Honky Donk took off for some reason. Next, we cut to Owen and the Bulldog backstage for an interview. They call everyone a bunch of stupid American hillbillies, a bunch of animals. They say this doesn't happen in England or Canada. Austin comes in at the end, barking at them, but he's held off by referees.
Yeah, and this Owen is doing his best to keep this thing on track. He's talking a little too much as he was earlier in the night, and at the same time, Bulldog has a two-prong attack for this promo. One is massaging Owen Hart's chest, and the other is just fumbling all over his words and adding extra shit when it doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, he was definitely doing a lot of that. That's the one I noticed more of.
Well, and standing dead ass in front of the screen that they're begging for the thing to be played on again.
Yeah, please play it. Please play it again for the tag team champions. Please play it. And meanwhile, it's being played, and he's still begging.
I will say I like because it's a tease for a post commercial. Without feeling like a stupid tease, I liked the kind of world building aspect of Stone Cold kind of popping up at the end of it.
Yeah, he's passing by on his way to the ring, sees him, and he wants to give him a fuck you.
Exactly. It sells as genuine.
Absolutely. We get after the commercial, we get Raw is brought to you by Coliseum Video, which has WrestleMania and the new Shawn Michaels VHS.
And Royal Rumble.
For all of you out there. Oh, and Royal Rumble. For all of you out there with the VHS and the VCR still kicking it, you can still get these from ColiseumVideo.com.
It's only been, 3 months since Royal Rumble?
Close to 4 months.
And now you can watch it if you didn't buy the pay-per-view. Yeah, folks, that's what we're here to do. Remind you of those days. That's what it was like in those days. Now, keep in mind, if you wanted to rent that motherfucker, you weren't getting that for another 2 months.
No, sir. You had to be in line the day of it returning.
Yes.
Speaking of those days, not only was Coliseum Video the sponsor, but we had America Online.
Oh, buddy.
Boo, 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 boo.
I'm not even going to put a sound effect in there for that. That was just perfect.
Yeah, the old America Online. That's awesome. From there, we cut to the next match, a singles match.
Texas versus sort of Texas.
We get Austin entrance, and the fans are hot for Stone Cold. Finally, we hear Billy Gunn's theme. And he's with the honky tonk man.
Just a honky tonk man.
Hit it, Brian. From there, these two have a match. Somehow honky tonk man is on the side of Billy Gunn. He gets right back in commentary, right?
Yeah, it's weird because he comes out with him.
Yeah.
And then directly goes to commentary. I will say on the entrance, a little funny piece is he has that same guitar. He's holding the neck or the bridge or whatever of that guitar. Hi, Paul. And the rest of the shattered guitar is encapsulated in a plastic bag that has been zip tied to the neck of the guitar.
That's good.
For this entrance, that was the best part. I was hoping he'd bring it back in the ring with him. He doesn't. But yeah, he comes out with Billy for some reason. But I find later with what we get after the match, it doesn't coalesce. So he comes out with Billy and then goes directly to commentary and just sits back down. Like, well, why the fuck did you even leave? Other than
he puts Billy over the entire time.
100%. Which, again, makes the post-match segment even fucking weirder.
We'll get there, but I think it's fun. This match, as far as the match goes, has its peaks and valleys.
as Honky Tonk reminds us.
Billy is a shit worker, but he's very entertaining. Fair?
Oh, very fair. He's got some good flare flops in this.
Yeah, and he's got good emotions, his facials. He was good here. He was good against Ken Shamrock. He's fun. I see how he got over despite, I don't want to say he's a bad wrestler, but he's a bad wrestler.
We'll see as we go along. I think once you get the hindrance of those genes off of him, I mean, this man has just got to show his ass. Like,
he is an ass man.
I'm an ass man.
Bam, bam.
I'm an ass man. Yeah, I'm an ass man.
So anyway, Bulldog and Owen cut back into this match because they haven't been in a segment in 6 seconds. Not only did they have to have the opening match, the next segment, and cut into this match, but they come in, they talk shit on Austin. We're at the highest moment, and you have to come in here and stick your nose in our business. We might stick our nose in your business. And let's leave my brother Brett out of this. What?
Who the fuck brought him up?
Yeah. Motherfucker.
Owen's really, he's not quite there yet, but in this period, he's really zoning in on that like super whiny, annoying heel that he will be.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. So in the match, Austin flips off Billy Gunn, lifts him, hits a low blow back kick, I guess you call it. Referee yells at him.
Oh, the trick leg.
Yeah. And as soon as the referee turns around, Austin flips off the referee with both hands. The crowd explodes.
That's my only real note for this match. That to me, that was the high spot of the match.
I think this is the first time we've seen it, right?
I think so. Yeah. Honestly, I believe this is the first time we've seen Tim White.
Like it also could be true, but I don't usually pay attention to referees, so I could be totally wrong.
Oh, I do because I have multiple notes about referees as we move forward.
Austin flips off the referee to exploding pop. And at one point, Billy Gunn flips him off back. And then he turns right around into a stunner. 1, 2, 3, game over.
Solid stunner. I mean, I hate I hate what we'll see coming forward. The overdone stunners. I hate the limp Vince stunner. But
so bad.
Take the stunner on the knees and then flop over. That's all.
Yeah, if you can land on your knees the same time he lands on his ass, you nailed it.
Exactly.
Nailed it. And then whatever you do from there, just fucking play dead.
100%.
Don't do the back. Don't do the back from The Rock does.
Hey, he never gets shit for it. But the shit The Rock does later on, that stunner, I feel is disrespectful and paramount to how Shawn Michaels treated Hulk Hogan.
He breaks it out mostly at WrestleMania. The ridiculousness.
I mean, can you imagine somebody took his rock bottom like that? Like,
yeah, and then he got up and front flipped.
Yeah. I'm sure someone's done it though.
Honky Tonk Man calls Billy Gunn his first choice, even though Jesse James turned me down last week. He says,
I have the same note.
Fucking great. So he's telling this to Billy Gunn after the match, who had just lost. Honky Tonk Man says, "You know what? You're my guy. I want you to be my guy. Tell everybody you're going to be my guy." And then Billy Gunn punches him in the face.
Which surprised the shit out of me.
Me too, because we know what's coming.
Yeah, we know what we're working to, but yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't know there was any kind of drama beforehand.
Oh, swerve.
Yeah.
It's a swerve. It's a swerve, bro.
This is the swerve era. I don't know why they fucked around calling it the attitude.
It's a swerve. So Billy Gunn punches Honky Tonk Man and leaves to a pop, even though he's playing heel for the last few weeks.
Looks dead to the camera after taking a devastating loss where he got his ass whooped for the majority of the match and says, "I'm the best."
Yeah.
Okay, Billy. Quick note, in that match, I believe it's the first, and this is coming right off of WrestleMania, Heat. I believe it's the first mention we've had of Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. In the match, we get a little, what do they call that? A bottom bar?
Lower third.
A little lower third, son. And it's got a Sunday Night Heat promo. And they're calling Sunday Night Heat like the 3-show lineup that USA Network is putting on. Silk Stockings.
And JR says, my favorite show.
That's my favorite show, by the way. That's some good television.
And as like a 13-year-old, it was my favorite show too. That shit was softcore porn on regular TV.
Oh, brother. That's like La Femme Nikita was the same way, but it was fighting.
Yeah. Well, see, in Silk Stockings, every episode started with a sexy situation.
Oh, there you go.
That ended in murder.
13-year-old you was like, oh shit, there's been another murder.
never watched a full show. Just as soon as Raw was over, watched that first like 20 or 10 minutes just to see that softcore porn shit in the beginning, and then that's it.
And then you went to bed and turned the lights on. I get it.
Exactly.
After that, we cut to Doc Hendricks.
Oh God. With the 2 words.
He's with his good friends Katie and Jamie.
Jamie doesn't know his cue to turn around, and Katie looks at him very shittily, like,
"Oh, this girl looks identical to Doc Hendricks." I said, "If that's not his kid, he fucking picked this kid out on purpose."
Oh, Katie fucking Hendricks, man.
Katie Hendricks, my good friend. No, she's the one with the speaking part.
It's Katie P.S. Hayes.
She was born on Bad Street. So this is just a commercial for the new Undertaker poster. It's like
a door hanger thing.
6 feet tall, yeah.
$29.99. Jesus Christ.
Only $29.99. Call me now, Doc Hendricks. 900-999-999.
No extra for photoshopping out his white eyes before Photoshop existed.
Finally, we cut from there to a debut. So we get the debut of the commandant of the Truth Commission, who apparently is from South Africa, conveniently, because that's where they'll be next week.
Johannesburg.
They're here to study the long-term effects of democracy on the people. You people have been given too many rights, he says. This guy is over the top, and I don't believe he lasts very long in this role, but apparently he is a friend of Bret Hart's.
A new friend.
Oh, a new friend.
Well, that's what I read.
Oh.
Basically, once Bret went over there to South Africa, they met, and he just thought the guy would be great.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I just heard that he was in the USWA prior to this, and he was an actor friend of Bret Hart's from South Africa.
Yeah, from my understanding, he actually got sent to USWA to get ready for this.
Gotcha.
Like, basically preparing to do this is his only role in wrestling ever. But yeah, when Bret went to South Africa and met the dude, he suggested that he would be great in a role for something WWF, and but he had never wrestled before, so he actually made his debut down in Tennessee, wrestling a bit under the commandant, and then they actually had the Truth Commission down in USWA. It had a few different members.
Yeah.
Now he's here, and you get this guy. His latest, when I saw, I didn't go look at his IMDb. because he's like 68 or something, but his latest like movie is Invictus. So I mean, he's in stuff.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, maybe not a bad actor then, but not too good here.
Yeah, I straight up. I mean, and part of that is probably because it's WWF, but I straight up thought it was a fake accent.
Yeah, it sounded that way. He's here announcing that next week in Johannesburg, we will see the debut of the Truth Commission. Or his guys, yeah, I think he calls them.
Yeah, I mean, I won't get too far into it because I didn't really read enough about it to speak that in depth about it. But this Truth Commission is basically based on this actual South African thing called the Truth and something. It starts with an R, something commission that basically was a South African white separatist group.
Oh.
So it's kind of like the WWF's reverse nation.
The reverse nation. Yeah, so the Commandant goes off for about, 10 minutes in a promo that most people in the crowd aren't feeling. But he's announcing that he's also a friend of Bret Hart's, and he's going to cut to Bret Hart as he's leaving. So we get a promo of Bret Hart, who is already in South Africa, and he's cutting a promo on America, cutting a promo on everybody, and says that he's already in Cape Town, and then they show him do an entrance into the ring.
And man, for that promo, really, could we not have found a room with more echo?
Yeah, total echo.
The main thing I took away from Bret Hart in Cape Town on a home VHS recorder promo is that Bret is still gonna Bret from halfway around the world.
What do you mean?
It's still fucking boring. He's still gonna say a lot of words that don't mean anything. Milk fucking toast. Just
not as many words as your boy Shawn.
Well, I mean, we'll get to, we'll get there. I know for a fact it's not as long as you're thinking it was. I timed it.
It was pretty long considering my nap in between.
Well, I mean, like I said, top of the show. I mean, the only thing this show needs is just, more fucking Shawn Michaels who's not wrestling. So we come out of the Bret promo and Vince tells us while we're looking at just a nondescript shot of the audience, Vince tells us that we're looking at the cover of the new WWF magazine. Well, the graphics department didn't get that notice because we're not looking at that magazine.
No, we're definitely not.
We're just looking at the crowd. And then we cut to a reaction of Shawn watching, and he makes a comment. Vince says something about the cover being of Bret and Bart. So then we cut to Shawn Michaels watching Bret Hart on the monitor backstage. And it wasn't until he said something about Bret droning on about family values, but then goes and does something with The Simpsons. I was like, oh, yeah. It's Bart. Okay, Bart Simpson. I was like, Bret and Bart. Bart Gunn? Why would Bart Gunn be on the cover of the WWF magazine? Is it the shit kicker edition? Like, what the fuck?
He makes a really dumb joke at the end. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Well, he says, it's just a cartoon, Bret. It's just a cartoon.
Yeah.
Which, if he was watching that monitor for the opening match and segment that came afterward, well, so is this.
After we get a commercial break in there, and then we get Shawn Michaels coming to the ring, playing off of Owen and Bulldog's constant ability to be on the show. Shawn Michaels is doing the same thing with segment on segment.
It's the Dueling Heart Foundation and Shawn Michaels show.
And the Heartbreak Kid.
There you go. Yeah, this is Heart is Raw, just two different spellings.
Shawn Michaels comes out at the commercial. It says he's had a setback on his leg after Bret Hart's injury. They showed the clip from last week's. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? A couple weeks ago, Raw, when Bret did the figure 4 on the ring post, as well as jumped on his leg and did it's like an atomic drop to yourself.
You're right. You know what? That was last week. That was Raw 203, our last episode.
Okay. Shawn says yes, he's had a setback based on the injury or based on the attack. And when Vince asks him when he's coming back, he says, "I won't tell you."
Great way to start a promo. I'm not telling you the thing you want to know.
Yeah. I'm glad you all came here to listen to me because I'm not going to tell you anything.
Exactly.
Bret hates me. He's always been a bad guy. I hate him too. Blah, blah, blah. This went on for 45 minutes.
Not quite.
47 and a half minutes.
Actually, 14 minutes.
14 minutes and 7,000 seconds.
From intro, from a theme song to theme song, 14 minutes.
All right. It felt like Bret Hart's promo.
It was 7 minutes too long. For sure.
I agree. Shawn at one point says, I want to digress to 6 years ago. This is where I fell asleep. Bret went back a year and a half and we ripped him to shreds. Shawn says, I want to go back to 6 years ago. I'm like, oh my God, here we go.
But Shawn kind of glossed over the thing and talked about a grand situation as to where Bret gave us fucking point by point what happened to him for the past year. Don't get me wrong. This is too long. It's not good, but I did not hate it nearly as much as I hated the Lost My Smile promo.
No, I agree. It's not as annoying. He calls out Bret for using WCW to get a better contract. The other guys.
The rival wrestling promotion.
The rivals, yeah.
This is like, there's some okay stuff in here. Much like Owen did earlier, he drones on a little too long and like repeats himself in certain ways that weren't necessary. All in all, it's very worked shooty shoot shit.
Yeah.
And he's going on about him and Bret don't like each other, and Bret, you're the hitman 24 hours a day, and you bring your family into this, and then you get the work stuff, but there's some, like, as for what we know now, there's some shoot shit slipped in here, much like we talked about. I mean, this is the Russo writing era.
Yeah. I don't like him out here in the ring, and I don't like him back there.
There's at one point he says when he's going, I think it's that 6 years thing or something. But when he's going over, when Bret had the title and he had the secondary title, blah blah blah, he played his part and didn't complain. And someone in the crowd goes, "Liar!"
Yeah. He responds to the crowd a few times.
And there's some chants going. At one point toward the end, when I was feeling whoever said this, someone yells, "Get out of the ring!" And someone else starts chanting, "Boring." But I'm gonna tell you, man, this is gonna sound real like I'm real defensive of him, but I want everyone to remember, I ripped him on that every time we had to watch that stupid Lost My Smile garbage.
Yep.
I will say, I feel like maybe he was stretching because the Bulldog Owen entrance felt delayed.
Yeah, it was delayed by about 10 minutes.
Well, I think I think that segment was supposed to be 10 minutes, and I think for some reason because even when they cut to them. Don't they only cut to them on the screen first or something? Yeah, they cut. They cut to them watching. They look confused at the beginning of that, and then they turn to the screen. I forget. There was something in there though that really made me feel like that stretched on longer than intended. Now, I say that to say this: if that is the case, it was also planned to be too long. But
yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
Oh, I fell asleep too.
Yeah. Took a nap, woke up, restarted it.
But I believe this is the first, right at the end of that segment, because Owen and Bulldog come out. Shawn keeps him out of the ring with a chair. And right at the end, right before we go to commercial, I do believe we get the first Shawn Michaels crotch chop.
Does he do a crotch chop?
Right at commercial.
Oh, I'll have to go back and catch that.
And of course, it's not the crossed over DX one yet. It's the same thing NWO is doing. as mentioned earlier in the episode, as turnabout is fair play, I went and checked to see what was WCW doing on Nitro during this lengthy mic segment, much like we did with Bret Hart. Not a whole lot. In the time period this happened, they actually went way longer on the same type bullshit. It was the majority of it, I say 3/4 of Shawn's in-ring mic time was the entire NWO.
Okay.
They were hashing out, and then keep in mind, this is when NWO is swollen. Savage is already in there, but you still got a lot of the IRS is still in there, or Michael Wall Street, whatever he is in WCW.
Yeah.
So you have those, and also you still have fake Sting for some reason.
So they're like 10 or 12 deep.
Oh man, it might be like 17. Because you have Virgil or Vincent, whatever, and you have $1 Million Man is still around. Like it's Six is in there. It's man, the ring is full. I didn't watch the whole thing because Hogan started talking, and but it looks like the general idea is they were hashing out some precursor beef between Nash and Hogan, and also a side story hashing out some beef between Eric Bischoff and Randy Savage. So there you go. That's what's going. The majority of the time, Shawn Michaels is in the ring talking. That's what you have on the other channel. So if you were me at that age, you're probably flipping back and forth like crazy. Now the NWO segment does end. We hit a quick talking heads with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Tony Schiavone, and Mike Tenay up in the Nitro broadcast booth before we cut to Mean Gene in the center of the ring for, you guessed it, another talking segment.
Who's talking now?
And this time it's Ric Flair.
Woo!
Again, didn't watch the whole thing because I'm not watching the whole show. Basically, I guess he's giving the announcement he's been cleared to wrestle. He intros Roddy Piper for some reason. Piper comes out, and that's about the time we hit the 50-minute mark where WWF has gone back to commercial. I don't know how much longer that Flair Piper thing goes on, but knowing them two, I'm gonna guess a while.
Quite some time, yeah. That's not as bad as last week and Bret Hart getting through 13 matches in 6 segments.
Four war games, two bunkhouse brawls,
couple World War IIIs. So from there, we get to a commercial, and then we're going to the War Zone. Before we get to the War Zone, we're going to cut to our weekly rumor segment. This week's rumor is going to involve ECW and WCW.
Bow.
Lots of rumors regarding Rob Van Dam leaving for WCW. Supposedly, when asked about his martial arts background, Van Dam told someone over the weekend, "Wait a few weeks and you'll hear about it from Mike Tenay on Nitro."
Ooh.
Sabu has already sent out feelers to WWF. Although the impression I got is that they aren't head over heels about him due to his track record. Paul Heyman said that Sabu is under contract until the end of the year. What do you think about ECW and RVD and Sabu sending out feelers to the other companies?
It's tough. I wish I could get kind of into the mind state I would have been in if I heard that news then. I mean,
yeah, I know.
I'd like to say I would have hated the idea, but I can't say that either because I liked both of those guys and would want to see them do well. Timeline wise, I'm not. Maybe Raven. Have we seen anyone ruined yet
by
either company? Like anyone coming from ECW in 1997? No, we couldn't have because they just did the Invasion deal. No one's left yet. Like Raven may have just left, but we haven't seen anyone who was like huge, like a ECW icon, jump to the other company and be completely squashed yet.
No, I can't say we have.
And Raven's gonna be.
Al Snow hasn't jumped yet. He just jumped there first.
To my knowledge, Van Dam never went to WCW, correct?
That is not true.
Ooh.
He was Robbie V in WCW.
After ECW?
I don't know the timeline. I want to say no.
Okay, I'm about to say, because if they took if they took the guy with the shoot name, or I'm sorry, if they took the guy with the worked name, Rob Van Dam, and made him Robbie V,
Yeah.
after he was already a success, Jesus.
No, I think it was way prior.
I could see that.
I don't think it lasted long. They also had Jerry Lynn and put him in a mask, so that's what WCW does.
Sort of like kind of trying to view it in hindsight. I can kind of get behind that decision in that, Jerry Lynn is great, and he's not a guy who's got the best personality that's gonna go over super huge in that era of wrestling, but he's amazing. So throw him in a mask and throw him in there with the luchas, and he's gonna kill the game.
Yeah, he doesn't have to talk. I get it, but he's Jerry Lynn, so fuck the police.
The police always holding down Jerry Lynn. Old blonde hair, blue eyed Jerry Lynn.
That's right. Whenever Jerry Lynn's around, the police will be fucked.
What was his name under a hood?
Mr. JL.
Oh, that's terrible. That's right. That's fucking garbage. I recant everything I said based on the name alone. I can get behind the hood, but not the name.
The other rumor this week is based out of WWF, and several versions of a same story are being reported. Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard have had a meeting with Kurt and Larry Hennig. Now, in the meeting, Kurt revealed a letter that Bruce Pritchard had sent to Lloyd's of London, which resulted in him not getting his lump sum $350,000 settlement.
Shit. Backstabbing.
If you don't know what Lloyd's of London is at the time, it is a insurance for athletes.
It's pretty much insurance for the uninsurable.
Correct. And so several wrestlers took up these insurances and scammed them, typically.
Famously, we'll see him come up soon, Rick Rude.
Rick Rude, absolutely. And they ended up getting a settlement and then also wrestling as well and getting paid. In this case, Kurt Hennig and Larry are trying to negotiate them to return. They are still pissed about this Lloyd's of London deal, and they need to get the legal situation sorted out before a return would be agreeable. It wound up as the blow that they needed for WCW to get the contract. So there you have it. Kurt Hennig is going to WCW with Larry, his father.
Let's look at the reverse. If he had gone back to WWF, we could have possibly seen a return of Mr. Perfect. That'd have been awesome, right? No, not really. That'd have been garbage. Everyone thinks that. Instead, we got to see Kurt Hennig in the NWO as a weird rapping cowboy gimmick. I mean, what else could we want?
Mr. Perfect. Give us the man who throws touchdown passes to himself. Give us the man who wins home run derbies against Barry Bonds. Give us the man who can swim in the sky. I don't fucking know.
I thought you could just swim. Like, what?
He can just swim, dude. I can't swim.
I don't know. Who else can swim, really?
Besides Aquaman. I mean, that's it.
Who amongst us can swim? No, I think I really hate that he didn't go back. I think if he had, even though he had like the super gimmicky name of Mr. Perfect, I think he could have weathered that easily, especially after the Mick Foley thing happens. He would have ended up just being Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, reveal your name, but also live the gimmick.
Exactly.
Yep. A couple more little ones, although rumors are everywhere that Honky Tonk Man's guy will be Brian Christopher. Dave Meltzer doesn't think that's who it's going to be. Oh, who could it be? And Shawn Michaels is now hopeful to be back in the ring in May and could possibly wrestle Bret Hart at King of the Ring on 6/8 in Providence.
I hope sooner than that. Jesus Christ.
I hope so too, because he's on our screen every week, and I don't want to see him just do interviews for fucking 3 more months.
Somebody like Shawn, who, by all accounts, is a natural heel. You can get him over as babyface. It's been done, of course. We've seen it, but it's tough to continue that. It's tough to let him talk and not let him back it up physically and keep him babyface.
He's a small guy. In order to keep him babyface, he needs to be tossed around and be the underdog.
Exactly. But if you just got him out there just talking shit and being a smart mouth as he is, like, I mean, it's tough to stomach.
Oh, it certainly is.
And this is coming from a dyed in the wool fan. Like, I was thinking about it too. Watching this episode, when he was getting some big pops here and there. Like, you can cheer Brett, you can cheer Sid, you can cheer me. Ah!
Yeah, well, huge
pops. But you mentioned it on a previous episode, and you're right. They're predominantly female, and I remember being a kid amongst my little crew of friends. Man, I caught hell for liking the boy toy. But fucking jokes on them, because I mean, everyone's pretty agreed. I mean, it's arguable, but everyone's pretty agreed. He's top 5 best ever in the ring. So it's like, suck my dick.
That's right. Meanwhile, they were cheering on Ahmed Johnson. They weren't even wedgie watching.
I mean, how could you not wedgie watch? That's the next shirt. I just gotta figure out the logo. That's the next shirt.
Wedgie watch.
Wedgie watch. And no one's gonna buy it because who wants to wear that? But wedgie watch.
It's gonna be a big ass, big black ass with red tights up it. No one's gonna buy that.
I can see Manzilla to draw it.
Oh no, terrible.
Oh, matter of fact, speaking of which, folks, you'll see it very soon. We got a brand new portrait, comic book kind of style portrait from Z Manzilla, who did our other one we spoken about before. Portraits by Z Manzilla on Facebook. It's Mikey as Brett the Hitman Hart with me as Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Sharpshooter, blood and all. It's pretty fantastic. It's out there. If you go look at his page, you'll see it. But we'll be releasing it very soon.
That's right. Give his page a like on Facebook. Follow him. Check out his Twitch and all the other things that he does. And also give our Facebook page a like while you're out there.
Yeah, do that shit.
There you have it. After that, we come back to commercial, and it is time for the War Zone.
If we can turn back the clock of time. If we can rotate it back almost 20 years ago.
What a real Donnybrook that's going to be.
Atomic drop and homies over the top.
Nicely executed and down to the cabin. Here comes Owen.
Get on your feet.
All hell's going to break loose now. Anything goes here.
And we get the Warzone video coming in. We're here for a tag team match. We see the Headbangers coming to the ring at the introduction of the Warzone, and their opponents are going to be Barry Horowitz,
Ooh-hoo-hoo.
the man who's proud to be Jewish, and Freddie Joe Floyd,
Who?
my man, Tracy motherfucking Smothers.
Is that who that is?
That's exactly who that is.
I thought he looked familiar, man, but I didn't. And matter of fact, I thought, let me go look this up. I was like, whatever, you'll tell me.
Yeah, it's Freddie Joe Floyd is fucking Tracy Smothers coming from Smoky Mountain. They had to give him a goofy name.
So basically, we have the king of the jobbers, the old king of the jobbers. Like this is the OG Job Squad.
Tracy Smothers is my guy. First of all, he's going to be great in the FBI and ECW.
He's going to be terrible, but he's going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. And he's still wrestling today. How about that?
Holy shit.
He's like 30 or 40 here, and he's still wrestling today.
If that's the case, that is a man who understood the economy of bumps.
That's exactly right.
He must not have taken many.
He takes quite a few here, as Barry and Freddie Joe Floyd don't get an introduction. And you know what that means. So yeah, clearly they're going to lose this match. We see early on, we see a cut in from Vernon White. And he says he's going to beat Ken Shamrock tonight.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't know what everybody's talking about. Not a bad little promo.
Nah, it was quick, concise. Like he did his thing.
It felt like a little MMA thing.
Yeah.
So it was good. They announced during the match that Sid has seemed to have some sort of flight problem.
I popped.
so did
hard.
I. I said, I hope Donald Trump's travel ban didn't reach back to 1997.
I popped so hard. And then when they'll mention it more, like because it's like an offhanded thing this time.
Yeah, it is, and then it becomes a building theme.
Yeah, later they hit it a lot harder, and I was pissed. I was mad because I was hoping maybe it was like so offhanded that you might have missed it, and I could have like just throw it in there.
Nope, not a chance. Sid has missed his flight, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
Check out the archives of our show to hear about missing flights that he has done recently.
This is a 20-year trend, folks.
He is not good at making those airports on time.
I do want to say, going back to refs, because I pay attention to them, especially because I'm interested to see as we move along when they stop calling them by names. Because of course we all know Earl Hebner and Tim White was called out in this episode, and he will moving forward. This guy I don't ever remember, but if he's not Bill Alfonso's son, I don't know who he is, because he's got the same mannerisms. They kind of look alike.
I didn't pay attention to who he was.
Yeah, well, he'll pop up again later in a pull apart, but yeah, he looks like Bill Alfonso. Like he looks like Bill Alfonso prior to Hardcore Narcotics.
Fonzie, the Fonz, my man.
Also, JR, since King's not here, this is probably the only like bad dad joke of the night. And it's a really bad one. And JR has it, carrying on the theme from the past couple of weeks, where good old Jim Ross is trying to get in on the humor. He starts by saying, speaking of, he said, old Freddie Joe is from Bowlegs, Oklahoma. Grew up eating barbecue and corn on the cob. And of course, that elicits the general Vince response. And it took me a second, and I thought about the whole timeout though. Like, this is America. Like, who didn't grow up eating barbecue and corn on the cob?
Yeah, I ate it all the time.
Yeah, like that's a staple for everywhere in this country. Like,
not just Bowlegs, Oklahoma.
So it gets worse. So then he goes, Jack and Gerald Briscoe went to grade school in Bowlegs. Oh yeah? For several years. Hey, hold up, man. Everyone goes to grade school for several years. Grade school is not a grade. It's several years of grades.
Yeah, he tried to make it a joke, and it's a normal thing.
It's not good at all, man.
I was there for at least 5 years.
At least
6, 7,
7, 8, whatever. I was there at least as long as that HBK promo.
That's 14 minutes, 7,000 seconds.
In wrestling terms, that was 4 cups of coffee.
Quite a few cups of coffee. It was 1 year of Marty Jannetty.
I was in grade school at least as many years as Marty Jannetty has been fired by the WWF.
14?
16, 7, whatever. You lose count after a while.
So I don't remember the specifics. I just tried to Google it, but I'm having troubles with my Amish internet. But
shout out to the Amish. What's the dude from ECW? Roadkill? Chickens.
Shout out to my man Amish Roadkill. That's my boy. Danny Doring is also great. Anyway, Freddie Joe Floyd, if I'm not mistaken, is the middle names of the Briscoe brothers. Some weird combination is like Gerald Briscoe's. Maybe it's Pat Patterson's too.
I would hope so, because if not, that would mean one's
Freddie Joe and one's Floyd.
I would say that would. I'd hope Pat Patterson's thrown in there as well, because if not, that would mean one of those names is Jack Joe or Gerald Joe.
Gerald, Freddie Joe. Jack Fred. No, that's got to be wrong. Anyway, it's some kind of rib on somebody. I remember hearing the story. I'm not sure. Google it, people.
Patrick Joseph would make complete sense because those are both Catholic names.
Joseph.
The saints. St. Patrick, St. Joseph. Joseph.
Oh, gotcha.
Joe is short for Joseph, Mikey.
Oh, is it? Thank you. Oh, I see what you did there.
Did you also know that there's a St. Michael?
I do. But you also know you can suck my dick.
I'll leave that up to Pat Patterson.
Hey.
Edit point.
So Tracy's mother eventually gets tagged in this match. I'm just going to call him Tracy. And he doesn't last very long before he gets caught by Mosh with the powerbomb and Thrasher off the top rope with a leg drop. Or vice versa. I'm not sure. Mosher and Thrash, as Sonny calls them.
Oh, so you're saying Sonny now. Okay.
Get the win. I'm having sunny days. Headbangers get the win before we cut again to commercial. Lots of commercial breaks in the show, it seems. But it's probably the same as normal, but it just feels like a lot.
I will say post the first match where they squeeze 2 in during that match. Post the first match, they do a little bit better until the main event.
And the main event, they do better with the interviews as well, interview cut-ins.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For sure. So after the commercial, we see that it's time for the No Holds Barred exhibition. And we get Vernon White in the ring because he doesn't get an entrance, and you know what that means. Ken Shamrock gets his entrance. He comes down, and before long, JR is already calling him the most dangerous man in the world.
This is proto Brawl for All.
That's exactly what it is, except it's booked.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a complete fucking work.
Yeah. At first, I bought into it.
I did too, up until the kick to the chest was way stiffer than anything else.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, hold up. So I rewound and watched again. I was like, oh, yeah, this is garbage.
Well, the kick was stiff. And it was like, okay. That's where I was like, oh, shit, this might be a real deal. And then I saw the finish.
Well, the kick was so stiff that I had to jump back because, like, hold up. That kick was so much more stiff than anything else that it felt like a potato.
Yeah.
So that made me question everything I'd seen prior. So I went back.
They said it was supposed to be an exhibition, so I'm wondering if that meant wrestling and holds.
Well,
no, because Shamrock did some strikes too, so probably not.
Well, I think what they were selling was that it's an exhibition, like it's all in good fun, good nature. Like there's no like beef here, because later we'll see in the best Ken Shamrock promo ever that the
2 stars.
The kick the kick is what incited his rage that took things off the tracks. But yeah, in this one, man, I was surprised. Vince promotes UFC. That's something you will not see today, folks.
He does. He mentions Tank Abbott and a couple other guys.
Even promotes their upcoming pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot. It's a pretty quick exhibition. I think Vernon White does pretty well, considering it's a book thing. And he looks good. He had a nice little promo beforehand. It's a good deal for him, but even though I don't think we ever see him again.
Vince drops the Vince line of the night. You see a number of martial arts styles from time to time. Not just grapplers, but the strikers, and all sorts of karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, you name it. Jiu-jitsu, Vince?
It is mixed martial arts.
But like, jiu-jitsu was what? It's jiu-jitsu.
Jojo Jitsu. It's Freddie Joe Jitsu.
New t-shirt. I'm writing Freddie Joe Jitsu.
That'll be a good one. With
that no one will get or buy.
But an outline of Tracy Smothers with a gi on.
Oh man.
So for a minute it looks like a shoot, like we said, but I think at the end the guy just blades
Man, I don't want to go off for too long. This is a short match, but I watched that many, many times, and I'm very aggravated at that spot.
Did the guy just cut his head?
No. Fuck no. There's no blade in this, in my opinion. That, sir, was a blood capsule.
No, I don't think so.
100%. If you go back and watch, so there's the stiff kick to the chest, and then Ken Shamrock is supposed to be enraged or whatever. He gets him. He gets him down, but like a back. He gets back control. I guess they call it.
Yep.
For everyone out there like me who doesn't watch that stupid real shit, he gets a waist lock. He kind of mounts him and lays chest to back on him, and he puts his hands underneath him, and something's going on there. It's tough to tell. So nothing happens. There are no strikes in this time period before the bleeding.
No, I agree.
At some point in that, there's some weird hand deals, but then Vernon turns over. No one is bleeding yet. And now Shamrock is on top of him as if he had just Luthai's pressed him. And there are no strikes yet. Our homeboy there, Kevin Dunn, cuts to a super duper close up. And you see Shamrock's index and thumb fingers together. He raises up Vernon's head, and the blood starts to pour, not off the back of Vernon's head, from clearly the side. And then there are some strikes. And then when Vernon goes to get up, the blood's got in his hair and it's dripping down. There's some weird cutting. Vernon tries to turn over and get it on his face. You see a quick glimpse of that dripping off his face, and they cut away from it fast. Call it whatever it is, blood capsule, pack, I don't know. In my opinion, after watching 6-7 times, Ken Shamrock squeezes something between his fingers to make that blood happen.
That could be. Now I'm going to give you my opinion.
I'm interested because I just went on a tirade with two non-wrestling fans 2 days ago about how no one in wrestling uses blood packets.
And then you saw this.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think right after the stiff kick, they zoom out a little bit, and you can see both guys, and Vernon White walks to the opposite corner. At that point, they zoom back into Ken Shamrock because he's getting pissed off and starts getting back up. In that second that they're away from Vernon, I think he's cutting his head. So that by the time Shamrock takes him down, flips him over, he's already bleeding all over the mat, which is terrible. And you should never blade yourself standing up and wide open. But I believe that's what he's doing. And it looks like he went high. I agree. It looks like it's off to the side of his head. But I think he's an amateur and tried to blade himself and was terrible.
Well, the only reason I'd love to buy into that, honestly, but the only reason I can't is because how the blood pours very thick. And I'm telling you, if you go back and freeze frame and get really anal about it like I did, from the angle you can see, it pours from Shamrock's hand.
And who is in the grassy knoll?
Exactly. Well, hey, we'll get to the Zapruder footage here later tonight.
At the end, the ref stops this on account of blood. I don't think this really helped Shamrock much.
Well, not just blood, no. Vernon taps.
Oh, does he tap?
He taps, and you can very clearly hear. You see the blood on the mat, and then Vernon's head goes back into it, and then Shamrock starts striking him. You hear, like I rewound it a couple times. Like, am I hearing this right? You hear Shamrock say, "Tap," and he does, and then he ref gets out, rings the bell, but then the commentary does in fact sell it like they don't call it, but they do sell it like a UFC stop or MMA stoppage.
A stoppage, yeah.
But here's my thing. You could probably tell me better. I'm not really I don't watch MMA and all that shit. Do motherfuckers tap from getting punched in the face?
No, they tap from submission holds.
Exactly. But there is the deal where if someone has top control or whatever they call it, and they're just ground and pound and like rocking you in the face, there'll be ref stoppage for your safety.
Yeah, if you can't defend yourself.
Yeah. So that finish was fucking dumb. But I mean, that's probably enough about a really short match.
So we get JR, and he's going to interview Shamrock, who's very winded after his match. And he cuts in, gets about, what's he say? It's supposed to be an exhibition. He got a little carried away, so my temper got the best of me. I just had to let him know who I am. I just had to let him know who I was.
But where they sell him at Shamrock trained the dude?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't he know who you are, homie?
He trained with him. He didn't train him.
Either way, you know him, right?
Yeah, exactly. This, to me, and at the end, Vader's music hits. He's got a matchup next. He comes out to the ring, and they do a stare down, which is pretty cool.
It almost looks like split screen. You have Earl Hebner and his twin. Earl Hebner in the referee joint and his twin in a suit. They've been around here and there, but at this point, you have both of them on either side, right and left, flanking the back of Ken Shamrock. And all things, oh shit, twins! which later on this will happen, and
previously it happened.
Well, later on there's a deal where I popped again for twins, because that's why I wanted to get that in.
Oh, gotcha. So Vader comes out, does a stare down, but like I said earlier, this whole deal doesn't do much for Shamrock, in my opinion. The student, the younger guy, hung with him.
Even though I didn't like it, the Billy thing a couple weeks ago did better for him.
Totally agree. Much better. From the commercial break, we get Vader's in the ring with Paul Bearer. He's going to go one-on-one with Frank Stiletto. And Frank Stiletto, for the third time tonight, does not get an entrance. And you know what that means.
And if you didn't know what that means, Vince tells you really fucking fast. This is no Ken Shamrock.
No, it's not no Ken Shamrock.
God damn, Vince, we know it's a job guy. Like, do you need to bury him for real?
Vader beats the shit out of this guy. As expected.
Vader gives this dude every finish Vader has.
He gives him 2 Vader bombs and a power bomb before he pins the guy. And he picks up his head after pinning him a couple times.
You're a dickhead, Leon.
Yeah, it was awesome though. Shout outs to Vader. Just had successful heart surgery, and he's still got some ways to go.
And my main note for this match was if Vader wasn't Vader, he would have barely broken a sweat.
Yeah, if he wasn't the size, I gotcha. Because he didn't take any offense from Frank Stiletto.
None.
So during the match, we get a cut in for the Mankind interview. Mankind says that he has a presentation for The Undertaker and that he's very sorry for last week. And he hopes The Undertaker will enjoy it because it's just for him.
Great Mankind piece. It's completely undercut by what he does later, but in this singular instance in the boiler room, perfect Mankind deal. Have a nice day.
This is gold, yeah. After the Vader match, we get an interview with Gorilla Monsoon backstage where he says they can't find Sid. He must have missed his flight or been in an automobile accident.
So hold on. Is Vince the boss or not?
Vince is the owner, but he is not on-screen owner.
He's not the president.
He's not the president.
The president supersedes the owner, apparently.
Apparently.
Except in interview segments.
Except for when he's acknowledged on camera. They said they can't find Sid. Apparently, there's a sudden softball game that needed a first baseman. Sid did not miss that flight, and he is on the scene.
Oh, man. Strikeout Syntax Sid. His new name, Softball Sid.
Softball Sid. There it is. Gorilla Monsoon says the only replacement he has tonight is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that the match is going to be made if need be. Stone Cold Steve Austin quickly shows up, says that's going to be a problem because I already wrestled tonight. Austin said he's going to wrap his knee brace around the head of Gorilla Monsoon to a huge pop from the crowd.
He's tapping him on the chest with it. I actually have a very close paraphrased for the end quote.
Sure.
This quote is like 97% off. That's where you got a problem, son. I done wrestled once tonight, and I ain't going to go out there and save your little show just because someone didn't show up because he's sick or he missed a plane or Trump changed the passport law.
I don't know which part of that is not straight Stone Cold. That's awesome. So Stone Cold said he's not wrestling tonight, so Gorilla has to come up with a new plan. He's not going to save the show for Gorilla. Finally, Austin says, you know what? He will wrestle Mankind tonight and save Gorilla Monsoon's show if he can get a match against Bret Hart in your house on April the 20th. Gorilla Monsoon reluctantly agrees, but he says there's still more time. Sid can still be here. Cue Mankind's entrance.
Music. Yeah, nothing. The only thing that almost got a bigger pop out of me is during that, right toward the end, Austin, he's waving that knee brace around. Austin raises it up too high, and he actually pops the boom mic hanging over them.
Oh.
but that popped me so it's so hard, and I was so ready to have so many jokes about it, and I was so disappointed that okay, technically you did have a little bit of time. There was a commercial in the segment, but still, like there's more time.
Yeah, I popped hard too. It was amazing. Mankind comes out right away, and we cut to commercial. We wait for Sid's flight.
It'd be landing any minute.
Yeah,
right? I mean the Coliseum, as everyone knows, this arena is right next to the airport. Apparently,
in Muncie, the airport's not very big, so the airport's all they got.
Sid's just gonna helicopter in and do the SummerSlam '94 or whatever Shawn Michaels entrance.
We come back to Mankind, and he's getting interviewed about The Undertaker. And he talks about what happened last week. He talks about what's going to be going on with him and The Undertaker over the year plus that they've been feuding. And he brings Undertaker a Mankind mask. And says he's going to need it after In Your House because he's going to burn him again.
Now this segment, which by the way is like 4 minutes longer than Shawn's, this segment, I don't know that for a fact. I just made that up. This segment I like it. It's great Mankind steez, but a few things he said in there confused me. He throws out that a line. The line is, with your fancy cars and your posh hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't sound like Undertaker at all.
I think he's trying to shoot on him.
It feels like it. Then he goes into he goes with the I burned you, and then the example of 14-hour flights, and then going home. Your wife's like, "What's burning?" And it's me.
It's me. I thought this was awesome, and I even wrote down, I can sit through 45 minutes of this because it was good.
It was fantastic. Just some of the things that he said confused me, but one thing, those two, the mainly just the fancy cars thing, and the wife talking about having a wife and kids. But clearly, we know we're working into that multiple personality kind of situation by Royal Rumble next year at least.
Yep.
But he goes in on his kids and his daughter, his kids here, and gunshots and whatnot. I'm like, hold up, you're telling me Mankind lives in the hood?
He lives in a boiler room.
Bang bang.
Those are the gunshots, yeah. Cactus throwing off bang bangs in the middle of the night.
It's like, yo, you don't need to protect your daughter. You just need to stop having Cactus Jack Tourette's.
Honey, the kids are in bed. What do you want to do? Bang, bang.
Have a nice day.
That's what he says when he's done. I can't say enough good things about this promo. It made me think, why wasn't he in title contention earlier?
Really, it really does, especially given that him and Undertaker had such history. Now Undertaker's got the title. Why I brought up the whole double screen Earl, and I forget his brother's name.
Dave
Hebner. Earlier, it was kind of just not even on purpose, but I kind of popped like twins. And then when the president you talked about previously, when Paul Bearer brings out the other Mankind mask, and I was like, "Hey, twins!"
They'll look good together. Undertaker eventually has a voiceover and basically says blah blah blah, creatures, demons, blah blah blah. Hell hath no fury like the Undertaker's revenge, blah blah blah. Lights are flashing, get scared.
We really hammered down on Undertaker and the economy of words, and more is less. I'm sorry, less is more. But not being in a live situation, being in a recorded situation, all this worked for me.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Really?
No.
I mean, it was too much, but I feel like he stayed on gimmick. He didn't throw in too many contemporary phrases. But all that being said, I don't know if it's where they recorded it or if it's an effect they tried to put on it. But it sounds like I got a reference back to the Brett Cape Town promo. Can we find a room with more echo?
Yeah, that's the complete opposite of what we saw with Brett. 100%. South Africa, get with the times.
That's the problem. He's probably over there with them.
Yeah. So after the Undertaker voiceover, we go back to commercial. So we come back from commercial and we get live next week. Raw is Giraffes from Johannesburg.
That's awesome.
Raw is Giraffes. Live from Johannesburg. They show a giraffe eating plants as they try to hype you up for wrestling.
I didn't even see that.
Oh, yeah. Quick little commercial deal.
I heard it, but I looked down and was like typing around.
We get Austin's theme song. So clearly Vince says, oh, Austin will be the guy. And clearly that means he'll get his match with Bret Hart. So just so you all know, we already knew that 10 minutes ago, but just reiterating here.
This is something I promised you loyal listeners who are watching along with us a while ago, and this day has come. Sid is gone. You're welcome.
Sid is gone.
He does a ECW stint here in late 97, and then he's back to WCW in like not the dying days where it gets really bad, but the pre-dying days. He's there for WCW logo change.
No, Syntax Sid. Yeah, that's when he does his leg break.
Oh, man, you know what? As many times I've seen that clip, I didn't know it was so late in the game. Like, dude, just go play pro-am softball. Like,
he's got to have a killer swing.
he snapped that. I'm sure that fucking big, like, and all the upper body strength. Because clearly we know he ain't got the legs.
This is not the end of Sid.
It's not?
No.
Oh, does he pop up for another pay-per-view?
Yeah, he's gonna do King of the Ring.
All right, folks, I misled you.
Get ready, guys. We have another month or another 2, 3, 4 months, 3 months of Sid.
But then it's done. It's over. I promise.
Then it's over.
I promise the bad man will go away.
He is going to be off TV for a little bit, so you are right there.
And I also promise Brett will go away. I promise.
Oh, just wait. Wait us out to the end of the year.
I can't wait. When we get to that pay-per-view, my commentary on the screw job will just be incoherent laughter.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to make it for a great episode.
Because he just got what he deserved. Asshole.
So before the match even starts, the Mankind and Austin just break it down outside the ring.
100%. This whole thing's just a fucking brawl.
It's a mad brawl, and it's great. Both guys are excellent at it. It's in and out of the ring. I like how after the match starts, they make conscious efforts to keep restarting the count.
I mean, yeah, but Earl can't count either. So,
well, maybe it's Dave.
Who knows?
They're twins.
Twin magic.
Twinning. So Mankind even takes the suplex out on the ramp where his body bounces pretty good. Pretty crazy. And that's before the match even starts.
Of course. I mean, look, Mankind's in a main event. He's going to take some crazy shit. But that to me, that wasn't even the worst one. Worst one's a little bit later.
Well, up next, we get, for the 18th time tonight, Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. They're standing by. They're at the same position they've been at all fucking day. Apparently, they can't change their clothes. They said that Brett is getting screwed. it's unfair to Brett for them to book a match without him here for the pay-per-view. And he's getting screwed. And as soon as they get done talking, Vince says, so what you're saying is Brett's getting screwed?
Vince has to damn near cut them off to try to get that point in, because they say that exact thing. They just never say the word screwed. And Vince is really pushing to make sure they hit that bullet point.
Well, it's the same thing Brett's been saying for weeks, so absolutely. And finally, he's just, yeah. Are you saying he's been screwed? Yeah, he's been screwed. During the match, as it's breaking down outside, Owen and Bulldog appear in one of the causeways. They moved from the interview station. The bad news is they've still not found their locker rooms. At one point, Mankind exposes the concrete. Always like that spot where he pulls back the mat. He slams Austin down, although not exactly on the concrete.
Also cheated a little bit. He slid back up.
He kind of rolled. Yeah.
Blame him. This is Raw, man. This is not pay-per-view.
No, we're not paying to see this. He's not getting a big check. So Mankind pops up on the apron and does his signature Cactus Jack running elbow, which was awesome to see. He lands on the mat as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean his elbow does, but you know where that bump really hurts him. He and we see it now with his walking. He took that concrete to the hip.
I think he bounced into it after he landed on the mat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it seems like he took it very carefully this time. Either way, it's always a cool spot. That's a crazy dive. I don't care who you are.
Those WWF mats are just a little bit thicker and harder to get out of the way than those whole shitty WCW ones he used to do it on.
No doubt. There's a spot where Austin pushes Mankind off the ramp.
That's the one I was alluding to a little bit ago. That shit looked fucking brutal.
Yes. Ouch. Holy shit. Back of his head bounces off the barricade not once but twice.
There's a sizable gap between that ramp and then that railing. So I mean, you travel and there's not a level ground to fall on that meets up with the ramp. You go to the floors, you hit it and slide. It was nasty.
And I don't think they realized how high they were up because he fell down in.
Yeah, I think they stepped up a little higher than intent. Well, who knows though? This is the guy who's going to fling off the Hell in the Cell here in a little while.
Yeah, he could be mad and just saying, "Hey, throw me up higher." And Austin's like, "No, we're going here."
Hey, he could be like, "Hey, let's go up here, find a dumpster. Let's get in the dumpster, throw me out." Like, who knows what Mankind?
No, you're crazy.
Especially considering this is still the able-bodied Mankind. Like, who knows what the fuck he's coming up with right
now? Bulldog and Owen eventually make their way down to ringside, but the Legion of Doom come out to equal the sides for 10 seconds until Vader decides to join us. Vader jumps in the ring, goes to attack Austin, who's being held by Mankind. Surprisingly, Austin moves and Vader bumps into Mankind.
As we learn with the Bulldog Owen Hart situation, it will take tag teams hurting each other roughly 9 months. The rough gestation period of a child for them to actually come to blows.
And this one was fast tracked because it just started in Royal Rumble.
This is a premature. That's why it ends on a hug.
Oh,
the most un-Vader fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And you can see it on Mankind's face and his mannerisms. He does not hug back.
No, it's the most un-Raw thing ever.
Raw is hugs.
To close the show, Vader and Mankind give a brief little hug when Paul Bearer talks them into being friends again. Meanwhile, Austin lost the match by DQ, and then just bails. Just fucking, he's out of there.
Yep. He does get his music played first, though.
He does, some reason. That's weird. Maybe he didn't lose, but he should have.
Well, the note I have again, where we talk about it comes from this one website in German, translated into English. I have no contest.
Could be, but they're also Vader fans over there. No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
The father.
Yeah. The Safaza land. Anyway, let's not get into Nazi jokes.
Hey!
I did not see that coming. Anyway, that's the end of Raw.
You really yanked that joke out of there.
I really had to yank it out of the old
Archive.
the old memory banks. Yeah,
You really had to yank it out of the old Argentinian archive.
I really had to yank it out of the old www.atomicdropcast.com archives. Plug.
Deep cuts. 15 some odd episodes.
That's the end of our Raw episode 204. But before we go, folks, we got to give our weekly ratings. This Raw was a little better than what we've seen lately, even though there were still some squash matches, still some ridiculousness. I actually enjoyed a lot more of this aside from 14 minutes, 7,000 seconds of Shawn Michaels. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 missed flights from Sid. That just seems like the way to go. It seems like Delta can't get their shit together. Come on, folks.
This is pre-TSA and Sid just still can't get where he needs to go.
Security is a breeze.
Man.
And Sid just can't even get on a flight. The seats aren't big enough. He's just more comfortable by boat.
You gotta bring Sid in by helicopter.
Here's what you do. You show up at Sid's house at 8 a.m. Okay. You paint home field on his doorstep. You go to the arena. You paint first base. You go back to Sid's house. You pitch him a ball. Let him crank one out. And then you just wait. He'll be there on time. He'll get there. And he'll be fucking... Cardio will be out ridiculous.
That makes perfect sense. That's why he's always so terrible with the words.
He's worn out.
3,000 miles winded.
He just ran from Arkansas to Muncie.
Talk about blown up. Jesus.
What are you going to give it, Brian?
I probably would have gone 3 as well until normally I forget to do this. And this time I remembered prior to the show. So I went back through my lineup and just kind of skimmed each like match segment, so on, and was kind of like adding and subtracting points for each thing. Now, given that this has more Shawn Michaels per square inch than any Raw we've seen yet, I should probably be way higher. But although I'm a super fan, I'm also not a groupie. Like, as we talked about and agreed upon, like, nah.
A rat.
Yeah, that shit, like, this shit doesn't wrestle. like wrestle, and I'll let you, if you wrestle, you can talk all you want. But you didn't, and I can't really get down with that. But also, man, like, there's enhancement matches in here that are garbage. The one good match isn't a great match, and it's not you can't really see it. Like, there's no real barn burner in here except the main event, which is a really good brawl. So I had to go low, and I got to give this what it actually is, and I got to give it 2 out of 5 Austin matches.
2 out of 5 Austin matches, because that's exactly what it is.
Exactly.
I like it. I see what you did there. Heyo. That's awesome. Well, folks, that is the end of our show. Make sure you check out www.atomicdropcast.com. Up top, you got the About section. You can read about Mikey and Brian, although it's brief. You can do the contact section if you want to shout out to us, hit us up in any way, shape, or form. Subscribe button gives you all of the ways you can subscribe and check out our podcasts on all the mediums. We are on Apple Podcasts, Android Podcasts, email, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, RSS feeds, whatever you're into. We've also got the Drop Shop. Check out all the new shirts. I know we've added La Furnace recently.
G.I. Joe La Furnace. Ooh.
We got the Lucha Libre. You don't know what that means. We got the new BJs. You're in the ring. You do know what that means. You're going down. We got everything you need, man. Check us out.
Every episode, you'll get at least a new shirt up there. Yep. Again, as Mikey mentioned prior in this episode, we don't make a dime off of these. That's not why we're doing them. If it's something we find funny, and if you're listening along, we hope you find funny. And hey, if you want a shirt, grab it up while it's there. I mean, because some of these bear likenesses of some people that might actually be real people, and or have still contracts with some places that might not want us to do that.
Do things. Yeah.
Yeah. Grab it up. Hey, once it's printed, they can suck your dick.
Folks, that is our show.
T-shirt.
No, not a new sheet. No. Folks, that is our show. Thanks for joining us again. For Brian, I am Mikey. One more time, Brian.
Drop some knees on some asses.
Welcome, Kurt Hennig in the West
Texas
Redneck
rap is crap.
And it goes like this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Country music, I love country girls. I like Willie Nelson, and don't forget about Merle. There's only one thing that I hate, 'cause it's a bunch of crap. I hate rap. I like NASCAR racing, Richard Petty's still the king. Yeah, they call me a redneck, but you know that's a beautiful thing. There's only one thing that I hate, 'cause it's a bunch of crap. I hate rap. 51. Bobby. What? I said 51, that's 52. Bobby, come on, Bobby. There's only one thing that I hate, 'cause it's a bunch of crap. I hate rap. There's only one thing that I hate, 'cause it's a bunch of crap.